Welcome to this week's Product Spotlight, where we highlight a different technology company each week. This video is produced by TechnologyAdvice, where we educate, advise, and connect buyers and sellers of business technology. In this week's Spotlight, we have Ross Carman, the Director of Sales at Fixify. I asked Ross to describe Fixify in one sentence. This is what he had to say.
Fixify is a mobile field service management solution, and it's really an entire platform created to provide scalable and cost-effective mobile workforce management for SME to enterprise customers.
I followed up with a question about what differentiates Fixify from similar products.
Yeah, so there are several things that differentiates Fixify. The first being really easy integration adapters. We feel that we can integrate with nearly any backend system from some of the larger CRMs, HubSpot and Salesforce and Microsoft Dynamics, all the way to homegrown solutions. I also mentioned that Fixify is kind of like this scalable platform. So we can dip into kind of peripheral areas of field service management. So when we talk about rostering, fleet management, and things like that.
Next, I asked Ross to talk about the ideal customers for Fixify.
Yeah, so really the one thing we always like to focus on is the flexibility that Fixify has. And in that, our ideal customer really comes down to just a company that's looking to improve their business, specifically from a field service standpoint. When we get into sizes, we can have the ability to really, and the flexibility to scale with businesses of any size. We've found that some of our smaller field service organizations, their problems when it comes to scheduling are just as complex as these global corporations. So in terms of size, we don't like to differentiate, but really anybody who's looking to make improvements on the field service side with the assistance of scheduling, routing, and optimization.
I followed with a question about pricing. This is how he broke it down for us.
So we have a pretty competitively priced tiered pricing model on a per license basis. So based on the number of licenses you purchase, you pay a monthly fee. Most of our customers don't need any implementation fees, so they can kind of get access to the system and begin working all on their own. But for some more complex customers and complex requirements and integration, our professional services team can provide a quote on that. But implementation fees isn't something that is standard when you're trying to start with Fixify. Like I said, we have a tiered pricing model. So based on the requirements of the business, we have a few different options.
I asked Ross what a limitation of Fixify was, and this is what he told us.
Yeah, so the one limitation that we do have that stands out is that we're a SaaS cloud-based application. And with that, it means that we can't customize the application for one specific customer. Basically, if one customer wants this really unique feature, we don't have the ability to deliver that only to them without pushing it to every other customer that we have. To compensate for this limitation, we do try to provide a variety of features and basically, like I said, this entire platform of products in hopes that we can minimize the amount of requirements that don't actually fall in the application to kind of minimize the need for these customizations.
Finally, I asked him to talk about a best practice for implementing Fixify.
One of the best practices that we tell pretty much all of our customers is when first starting to use the scheduling algorithm within Fixify is to really avoid manually manipulating the schedule. A lot of people kind of look at an individual field technician that has been assigned work and they say, I really wouldn't have scheduled it that way. And so they try to manually manipulate the schedule. And what Fixify actually does in the scheduling algorithm, it looks at a high level at the entire schedule rather than only one or two individual field technicians. So while a dispatcher may not understand why a certain work order was scheduled to a certain field tech, there is a reason. And when the system considers all the business rules and objectives, it may be scheduled in an area that doesn't necessarily make sense to the dispatcher, but for the benefit of the overall schedule.
If you would like to find out more about Fixify or other field service software, check out our website, technologyadvice.com, where we can help you find the best technology for your business.